Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Dramakorner. Today, I'm here with the trending drama, Bon Appétit, Your Majesty. Let's dive into episode 1. In a time of kings and chaos, when power could end a life with a single command, destiny chose to stir the pot of fate itself. The story begins in the Joseon period. A young woman, Ji-young, stands before King Yi-haeon, her hands bound, her eyes defiant yet trembling. The guards kneel and demand her execution. But the king does something no one expects. Instead of condemning her, he looks into her eyes and calmly declares, "Make her the head chef of the royal kitchen." The entire hall gasps. Ji-young can hardly believe it. Inside, her thoughts whisper, "I just need to survive. Survive long enough to find a way home." How did she end up here? Let's rewind. It's the year 2025. Ji-young stands in the final round of a French cooking competition. The challenge: prepare a royal meal. But disaster strikes. Her stove dies with only 5 minutes left. While others panic, Ji-young thinks fast. She builds a makeshift stove out of rice straw, flames dancing against time itself. And when the judges taste her dish, a venison steak inspired by King Yi-haeon's reign, their eyes widen. The flavors speak of history, of passion, of mastery. Ji-young wins. She becomes the new head chef at a Michelin 3-star restaurant. Overjoyed, she calls her father to share the news. He tells her that a professor friend in Paris is sending her something, an old Joseon-era book, and asks her to bring it home safely. She receives the package, an aged recipe book, mysterious and fragile. But fate has other plans. On her flight back to Korea, a passenger spills coffee on the package. Panicking, Ji-young rushes to the restroom to clean it. As she wipes the pages, she finds an inscription, a longing message written centuries ago. "May the one I love find their way back to me." Outside the plane, the sky darkens. A solar eclipse is underway. The book begins to glow. The world bends and twists. Ji-young is pulled into a swirling vortex, screaming as everything fades to white. When she opens her eyes, she's no longer in the clouds. She's hanging upside down in a forest trap, tangled in a net. Nearby, King Yi-haeon is hunting a deer. His chief eunuch warns him about rebels in the forest, but the king is unfazed. Back in the palace, Queen Dowager Inju and the royal consorts whisper anxiously, "The king is out during an eclipse, a time meant for sacred rituals." Meanwhile, Ji-young struggles in the net, and as fate would have it, one of Yi-haeon's arrows slices through the ropes, setting her free. She crashes to the ground, dazed, just as the king approaches. Yi-haeon stares at her, startled. Her strange clothes and speech make him think she's a guignol, a ghost woman. He raises his sword to strike, but before he can, an arrow whistles through the air and hits him. The king falls. Ji-young screams. Both of them tumble off the cliff into the river below. Ji-young awakens on the riverbank. The king lies beside her, bleeding and unconscious. She tears a piece of her clothing to tie his wound. But when he wakes, confusion and pride take over. He attacks her again. A struggle follows, and Ji-young, surprisingly, wins. She ties him up and drags him through the forest, desperate to find a way out. Or at least, a phone signal. Back at the palace, Kang Mokju, one of the king's consorts, faces suspicion. The others whisper that her influence drives the king to madness. But her past hides a darker truth. 7 years ago, she was imprisoned for killing a nobleman her mother sold her to. Prince Jaesan once offered her freedom in exchange for loyalty. Now, that same prince plots in secret as the kingdom reels over the king's disappearance. As Yi-haeon and Ji-young walk through the forest, they argue endlessly, two worlds colliding in every word. They reach an abandoned village, one the king himself had ordered to be cleared for his hunting grounds. Ji-young, not realizing who he really is, mutters about the tyrant king Yonhuigun, who forced women into the palace through the cruel Kehon system. Yi Heon remains silent, his identity hidden behind the tension of irony. Suddenly, they find a young girl hiding in one of the empty huts. Hungry and frightened, she explains she used to live there. Ji Young, ever the chef, smiles and says, "Let's make something to eat." Using what little she finds, rice, vegetables, a bit of butter, and gochujang, she creates bibimbap, the dish that unites all flavors as one. At first, Yi Hyun and the girl, Gilgyum, find it too spicy. But soon, the warmth of the meal stirs something deeper. The king's eyes soften. The taste reminds him of his mother, and for the first time, the cold monarch sheds a tear. Later, Ji Young and Gilgyum go to the cliffs to find her lost bag. By the stream, Ji Young washes her hair, and Gilgyum finally tells her the truth. This is the Joseon dynasty. Ji Young freezes. The wind seems to stop. Her mind spins as the impossible truth sinks in. Meanwhile, the king's men track them down. Yi Hyun, now aware of her strength and defiance, sends his guards to bring her back. The screen fades to black as the soldiers find Ji Young and Gilgyum by the shimmering stream. A woman from the future, a king from the past, bound by fate, and a dish that may change history itself. This is just the beginning of Bon Appétit, Your Majesty. Comment for the next part, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.